Located 10 miles northeast of downtown Atlanta, Doraville has transitioned from a small community supplying water and timber resources to a bustling and diverse suburban city. After becoming an official city in 1871, Doraville kept its small-town American quality of life. General Motors took advantage of the excellent water supply system and rail line in the city and built a manufacturing factory on the outskirts of the city, causing Doraville to thrive. The city continued to flourish between 1941 and 1960. Today, Doraville is said to be home to the Southeast's most prosperous immigrant-owned business community in the Buford Highway area. 56% of residents speak a language other than English as their first language. Residents are optimistic of Doraville's future due to its close proximity to Atlanta, its MARTA station, and talk of building a new town center. Cary Reynolds Elementary, built in 1961, has nearly doubled in size in the past 10 years to accommodate for the growing student population. Over 30 countries and 40 languages are represented at Cary Reynolds, making it one of the most culturally diverse schools in Georgia. In my class of 24, 21 students are Hispanic, 1 Vietnamese, 1 Chinese, and 1 African American. My first literacy resource was the Doraville Public Library. I used Literacy Standard RL 2.1 and RL 2.3. About 2 miles from school, I found the library warm and inviting with knowledgeable staff, a complete children's selection, and themed text and decorations to stimulate interest. Regular read-alouds and seasonal crafts and activities are offered for grade school children, as well as a library card for all members of the community. Many of my students don't have many books at home or have limited funds to provide many books for their kids. Most parents, when asked, stated that they do not consistently have their child read at home each night, or they are unaware of how to stimulate their child's thinking or comprehending of the text. I'm hoping parents will now take advantage of the library's services. I used Maps of Doraville for my second literacy resource and used Standard W2.2, W2.3, and SS2 CG4. My students had just finished learning about cardinal directions, our state, and capital. Students were to find the school on the map, possibly their home, the library, Plaza Fiesta, and the farmer's market. They picked 2 locations and recorded how to get from point A to point B using sequence words and including road names, turns, and cardinal directions. Work was shared then with classmates. My third literacy resource was the Scholastic Book Fair. I used standards RF 2.4a and RF 2.4b. The Scholastic Book Fair came in the fall. Students were so excited they were talking about it for a month ahead of time. So in preparation, we discussed how we should choose a just right book for us, one that's on our reading level, one that we're interested in, and one that we can learn from. My students have kindergarten reading buddies. So we talked about how we could practice fluency while reading, so we could read, share, and discuss the text with our kindergarten friend. My first math resource was the Doraville MARTA station. I used standard MDC.7. Students observed a MARTA train schedule. Students read the various times the train arrived at the Doraville station in the AM and PM. Students calculated how much time elapsed between train departures to the nearest 5 minutes with the help of small practice clocks. Students then solved word problems using the schedule, such as, if Anna arrived at the train station at 1:15 and the next train departed at 1:35, how long does she need to wait for the train? My second math resource was Plaza Fiesta. I used standard GA.1. Students observed photos of their favorite family hangout spot, a nearby shopping plaza named Plaza Fiesta. Students identified the geometric shapes they saw, drew them, and stated their qualities, such as how many faces, vertices, and edges each had. We discussed features, similarities, and differences between observed irregular shapes and the polygons observed. The skills were reinforced with the read aloud, "When a line bends, a shape begins." My third math resource was the Buford Highway Farmers Market. I used standard MD.C.8. Many students' parents can find their native foods at the Buford Highway Farmers Market. In a series of lessons, students read different prices of foods from the market, then practiced making the price with play money using different ways to show the same value. Students picked from various items and chose which they would choose to buy and calculated the total cost. When told they had a certain amount of money to spend, students calculated to see how much they could buy without going over, and then found the amount of change they would be given. I also used Monterey Mexican Restaurant and used standard MD.C.8. Similarly to the market, students observed a menu from a local Mexican restaurant. Students searched for the most expensive item on the menu and the least expensive. When told what 2 items to order, students calculated the total cost. Finally, when given a bill, students found change for their order. The project and discussions with my students showed me how highly the cultures in my class value family. Parents in my class will go to great lengths to provide for and help their child learn. Moms are eager to learn of the community events offered and are always very receptive to my feedback. Students spend weekends usually with the whole family helping mom shop or by participating in family activities. Not only has using community resources made the standards very applicable to myself and my students, but participating in these activities in either small groups or as a class family has increased enjoyment.